Welcome to the May 16th, 2022 regular business board meeting of the Lower Merion Board of School Directors. The board believes it is in its best interest and the best interest of the students of the district to hear comments from district residents. An opportunity will be given for public comment in person and through the chat feature, which will be read by Mr. Roos. This meeting is being video recorded with sound for public broadcast, and all participants joining via Zoom will be muted upon entry. So again, welcome. Thank you all for coming. I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Mamin.
Yes, well, thank you so much, President Klein, and good evening, everyone. This is an exciting meeting this evening, as we have in our audience this evening our 25-year award or recipients, our honorees this evening. 25 years is a monumental time, especially in education, and coming from the superintendent throughout the administration, we thank you for your continued years of service, and just reflect upon the many lives of young people you've impacted. It's so exciting. It's so exciting. We always talk about in education what's next. Right now, everyone's talking about what the new normal is, but what it still comes down to is that, you know, the basic fundamentals of building positive relationships and pushing children to just exceed expectations beyond belief. You know, you are those pillars of hope. You know, when focusing on the health and well-being of our students and families, and having that open mind, passionate action, and empathy. You've been able to do this for 25 years, and we look forward to many more years of your guidance, leadership, and support. So thank you, thank you. Tonight is your night. So please have a great time. Continue to celebrate, and please bring that great energy into our buildings again tomorrow and for future years. We thank you so much. All right, right.
Good evening. I'd like to start the evening off with recognizing Kathy Schick on this amazing honor. She has been an integral part of the Student Services Department, so I honor to recognize her. Kathy, can you come forward?
Sneak off from here.
I'd like to also honor and recognize Patty Breen and Elizabeth Folja for their contributions not only to Belmont Hills Elementary School, but the district for their past 25 years. I'm also honored to be recognizing a few members of our Kinwood Elementary family. Thank you for your years of service. Amy Avellino, Mindy Hausman, Lisa McDevitt, Lisa Ruzzi, Karen Saladino, Maria Wells. Will Amy and Maria please come up and join us up front for a token of our appreciation?
Thank you, Dr. Ruby.
Okay. All right, please join me in recognizing Doreen McGilvery and Lori McCrudden for their dedication to Gladwin Elementary School. Their contributions within the district have not gone unnoticed. Doreen and Lori, please come forward.
I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate Ann Freelander, Brian Kerper, Edie Lewis, and Donna Popko on this amazing accomplishment. Thank you for your work at Marion Elementary School and all that you do. Ann and Edie, can you please come up?
How are you? You need to script. I am honored to invite Kelly Vaccaro to the podium. I feel like it's The Price is Right. Hey. Kelly, on behalf of all of your friends at Penn Valley, congratulations for your 25 years of service in Lower Marion, and thank you for your many contributions to the district.
Please join me in honoring Margie Papiano and Kathleen Templeton for their 25 years of dedication to Penwood Elementary and the district. Margie and Kathleen, please come forward.
Thanks, Joel. Thank you. Thank you.
It is my pleasure to recognize several honorees from the Kenwood Middle School that are being celebrated this evening. Anthony Carangi, Mary Pat McFarland, Gary Nieberly, Noel Samuels, Andrew Thomas, Andy Zabari, and Michelle Wilson. Mary Pat, Andy, and Michelle, come on down.
Thank you. Thank you. Congrats. Thank you. It's not, that's okay. Okay. Thank you. Do you want it back?
I, along with the staff at Welsh Valley Middle School, thank you for the opportunity to recognize Janet Chung, Brett Davis, and Dean Monroe, and congratulate them on joining the prestigious 25-year club. Ms. Chung, if you are with us, will you please join us up front?
It is my pleasure to honor the following outstanding members of the Harriton High School team as we celebrate their 25 years with the district. Karen Corkery, Catherine Demaray, Dr. Andy Fina, Mary Beth Garrett, and Mr. Tom O'Brien. Tom O'Brien, could you please come join us? And before we move on, I'd like to recognize another administrative colleague from Lower Marion High School, Mr. John Fadley, celebrating his 25th year with the district. Thank you for your years of dedication. Mr. Fadley, come on down.
Thank you. It is a pleasure to recognize my colleagues at Lower Marion High School as we celebrate this evening and thank them for their contributions over the years. Pat Berry, Greg Downer, Deborah Gavin, Vernon Jones, Marsha Rosen, and Tina Williams. Mr. Vernon Jones, please come forward.
I'm pleased to honor both Peggy Karcher and Debbie Williams for their 25 years of service with the district and thank them for their hard work and dedication in the business office. Congratulations, Peggy and Debbie. Can you please come forward?
Good evening. Thank you for this opportunity to recognize Charlie Schnapp, HVAC mechanic, and Ed Stahl, groundskeeper, for their many years of dedication to the district. While they were unable to join us this evening, I, along with their colleagues, congratulate them on this honor.
Thank you all very much. I'm proud that to be part of this, and thank you all very much for your service. It's really very much appreciated. Please feel free to go home and celebrate. No need to stay if you don't want to.
Nice meeting you, Ben. Pleasure, dear. If you don't walk off, they'll point. You can. I'll catch up.
All right. Thank you so much, President Klein and fellow board members. What a great evening, great way to start off the board meeting this evening. I would like to, I know on the agenda here, we have item B is to accept the 2022 to 2023 ISC Mini Grant Awards. But before we move into the awards, I would like to defer to Ms. Schaefer, Megan Schaefer, to give a very brief COVID update, as a lot of letters have been going out and communications have been going out to the families throughout the school system. So please, thank you, Megan.
Would it be okay if I present from here? All right, excellent. Just an acknowledgement first and foremost that, we are aware that, the district is obviously experiencing what I would describe as a surge in cases. We talked about that last week through our communication to families. We are seeing those numbers staying high for us, and we are hearing, though, that we can anticipate that this is sort of the crest of the surge locally and perhaps nationally. So as a result, not necessarily just our numbers, but our county is now in the medium level, according to the CDC. So those levels that we've been following are either low, medium, or high. Last week we were in low, this week we are in medium. And then we have deferred and taken a look at the guidance that we follow under those circumstances. Practically speaking, not much changes. We have continued to be in close contact with our local Office of Public Health. They are not currently recommending any changes to the mitigation measures that we do have in place, which include the rigorous contact tracing that we do, the quarantining and isolation that we do in accordance with the Office of Public Health guidelines, the distancing that we do during lunches and in classrooms. We also offer KN95 masks to our students and staff who elect to wear masks during the school days. And we are, just to reiterate, following the guidelines of the CDC, the PADOH, and the Montgomery County Office of Public Health, and we can continue to do so. I know we do occasionally get questions about metrics that might change the direction for us locally or specific to Lower Merion School District. And I think, thinking about the work that we do as an education institution, we focus on what we can do to serve students and families within the parameters that were provided by local health authorities, but we are not, in fact, a local health authority, though we may be doing a lot of those functions right now in terms of contact tracing, managing vaccines, offering vaccine clinics. We are not what one would consider a public health authority, and therefore we are not in a position to sort of establish compliance metrics. That said, we look often to the Office of Public Health and query as to whether such metrics may be forthcoming. We understand that they are making some revisions to some of their documents related to their Mass to Stay program, adding some clarity to that, as well as their K-12 overall school guidance. We understand is forthcoming some clarification type revisions. But neither the Office of Public Health or the CDC are recommending a return to mandatory masking at this time, nor are they recommending a change to any of our current practices and protocols. Once again, all of the public health authorities that we do look to are prioritizing in-person learning, and that's what we continue to focus on and do it as safely as possible. So those, that is the update for us today. We do continue to monitor this. Our health and safety team is convening this week, and we'll be reviewing the data that we have in front of us to determine whether, if any additional steps need to be taken at this time.
Thank you, Ms. Schaefer. Are there any questions from the board?
Thank you. I was just hoping you could address a little bit if there's been any discussions about potentially having masking at densely populated events like graduation.
First and foremost, as a district, I think we've made it clear that we support decisions that individuals make and staff make related to masking. So we continue to ensure that those that choose to mask feel supported and those that don't also feel supported. So dependent on those decisions, we just want to reiterate that that's, we continue to ensure that the environment is comfortable regardless of the choice. As far as events that happen outside of the school day, the health and safety team have had discussions about those types of events as opposed to during the school day events. And because of the nature of those types of extracurriculars or events where students and families may choose to participate, are ones that we feel comfortable with the the parameters that we have in place right now regarding masking. Again, deferring to the Office of Public Health and their opinions and recommendations is important to the work that we do, and currently they are not making those recommendations for even those types of events at this time.
Thank you, Ms. Schaefer. Thank you. Do you want to go on to the ISC mini grants?
Yes, indeed. Thank you so much, President Klein. And this is item B in the agenda, 1B that is, to accept the 2022-2023 ISC mini grant awards. The Interschool Council received 64 grant applications for the 2022-23 school year, requesting $40,150. The funding came from each of the 10 schools. The ISC also approved $1,000 to cover the expense and include the new middle school in the mini grants program. A total of 44 grants received funding. The breakdown is as follows. Elementary, 28 applications submitted, 19 grants funded. Middle school, 15 applications submitted, 13 grants funded. High school, 21 applications submitted, 12 grants funded. Total grant funding for the 2022-23 school year is $13,815, with awards amounts ranging from $60.98 to a highest award of $791.82.
Thank you very much. Those of you that know me know that I was very involved with the Interschool Council for many years, including chairing the mini grant program. So I'm really thrilled to be able to be part of that and to be able to award these grants tonight, because it's a really wonderful way, sort of a cooperative program between the HSAs and the ISC and teachers that have different and sort of smaller and innovative programming that they can do within their classroom. So I'm very excited about that. But next we will move on to our committee meeting reports, and we'll start with our students. Ms. Wu, if you could talk about from Lower Merion's perspective.
Good evening, everyone. I'll start off with sports, since spring sports will be coming to an end soon. Our boys track and field team will be competing in districts on Friday and Saturday. And along with them, our boys tennis team won districts last week, and so they'll be moving on to states. Along with our sports teams being active and successful this semester, our other extracurriculars have been as well. Our student council elections just ended, so the student body is really excited to welcome the new student council cabinet. Along with that, our TSA chapter is preparing for their nationals competition and submitted their early submission events yesterday. Members from TSA and Dogma also volunteered at the district's Junior Lego League competition this weekend and helped with judging, roughing, and mentoring elementary schoolers in robotics and programming. On another note, our National Honor Society induction will be taking place this Wednesday at 7 p.m. We also had our art show 2 weeks ago, and we showcased art from communication design, photography, ceramics, metal arts, and all the fine art classes. On a similar note, we also had our Lmsb spring concert for orchestra, band, and chorus. And so with everything sort of wrapping up, the seniors had their prom on Saturday at the Lincoln Financial Field. And they've also left school and they're busy working on their senior projects and are super excited for graduation. For the rest of us, we've been pretty busy testing. We wrapped up AP testing last week, and it was definitely a pretty hectic week, but it's a relief to be done with AP testing for this year. Just keeping with like the testing trend, Keystones are also this week, so while it's not that fun for underclassmen, juniors like me get to sleep in. Most classes are also working on like final projects and tests for the upcoming weeks. And as things are wrapping up just a little, we're all super excited for summer and proud of what we've accomplished this year. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Wu. Next, we'll have updates from the April 27th Finance Committee meeting on staffing and IT, and also the May 11th Finance Committee with curriculum and instruction reports from Ms. Robinson.
Good evening. On April 27th, the Finance Committee met with George Frazier of the IT department to discuss the IT infrastructure as well as how the budget is created for IT work. The department itself takes on repairs of all equipment themselves, 12,000 help desk tickets to date, 4,000 from August to September. Hardware repairs in-house are 1,100 to date, with an uptick due to the transiency of devices. The budget has gone down from last year. We can leverage more equipment. We're going to have a one-to-one with the 8th grade students, and we're going to hopefully have them use their computers for 5 years. Let's see. There are instructional computers and iPads, Chromebooks, and MacBooks. Sorry, these aren't my notes. I'm trying. Okay, so that was the end of the presentation, and we also discussed the fact that there's a 5-year obsolescence and refurbishment plan for the IT department, and that generally gets determined at the beginning of the year. Then we moved on to staffing with Ms. Schaefer presenting, and this is how we staff our departments. We base it on requirements such as in the special education department, we base it on ratios of student to counselor. Let's see. Nursing services to over 14,000 students. Over 1,800 of the students have special health needs. Facilities, let's see. These meetings were recorded just so that they can be reviewed by anyone, and they were live streamed. We're still having a substitute shortage and a bus driver shortage. So if anyone knows anyone who's interested, that would be very helpful. The May 11th meeting discussed staffing and IT, and then curriculum and instruction. And we discussed issues such as textbook renewals, and the high school budget is the largest because material costs more than $764,000. The focus of the departments are on equity and access through all curriculum professional development work. And we had a review of the fund balance at the very end, as is required through our policies. There's a capital reserve fund, and the capital improvement plan for the upcoming year is $4.6 million, which will add a 5-year chart to help understanding. I'm sorry. Capital reserve, there are buses, and IT also goes into it, and the total is $8.6 million that they're hoping to budget for the 22-23 school year. The capital reserve fund is now at $7.2 million, so that leaves a negative $3.4 million. Hopefully, we will have some funds at the end of the school year to transfer into the fund. PSERS is at $10.3 million, and post-employment benefits is at $5 million in terms of the general fund balance. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Robinson. Next is the April 27th Ad Hoc Equity and Anti-Racism Meeting Report from Mr. Mooring.
Thank you. So on April 27th, we met via Zoom to discuss, well, one, to meet our new DEI director, Ms. Shawana, Dr. Shawana James Coleswell. She will be soon. She's finishing up her degree. We're very excited to have her on board, and it was very just pleasant to have an opportunity to meet and to talk with her. We also received an update from our consultant at Education Northwest on the issuance of surveys that will be going to, I believe, parents and students, and also discussed their contract adjustment, which I'll touch on in greater detail in my curriculum committee report, which is coming up next. And then we moved into a discussion or continuance of the workshops around the equity the equity policy administrative regulations, where we broke into focus groups to, again, begin to get parent and community input on how those regulations will be worded and implemented going forward. And our next equity committee meeting will be, equity anti-racism committee meeting will be June 15th.
Thank you, Mr. Mooring, and as you noted, next is the May 4th Curriculum Committee report.
Yes, great, thank you. And on May 6th, we met here in the boardroom to discuss the social studies text resources presentation, or as chemistry text resource presentation, revised contract around Education Northwest, and the Early Literacy Evaluation Committee, as well as resource renewals. For the social studies text, we were presented with Magruder's American Government Interactive 2023 with 6-year digital access. This would be for the honors, American Government, and college prep, grades 10th, 11th, and 12th. Total cost of $60,000, 543 for 450 textbooks, 175 which would go to Harriton, and 275 for LM, as well as, again, 6 years of digital access. In the presentation, they talked about how this textbook integrates inquiry-based instructions, investigates compelling and supportive questions that connect content to the students' lived experiences, as well as supportive cultural and culturally responsive education that requires activation of students' cultural background, new knowledge and skills, and also connects to high-quality, diverse sources, provides opportunities to apply learning to real-world challenges. The chemistry text resources is for AP chemistry, and it's the Zumdahl DaCosta 2023 edition, and also digital access, replaces the 2014 edition, and is aligned with the AP curriculum and test. This is for a cost of $27,500 for 123 textbooks and 6 years of digital access. The C, College Prep Honors Chemistry, this one is actually a open source. OpenStax is the name of the resource, and it's free open source resource with unlimited teacher and student access. Can be printed if needed, and is aligned with Chemistry 101, as well as Active Chemistry Supplemental Resource, and will be used in conjunction with CK12 and Pivot Interactives. Then the text resources for chemistry, including college prep and honors, include the CK12 Chemistry for High School, again an open source with unlimited teacher access and student access that can also be printed. It also offers videos and adaptive quizzes for immediate feedback. 4 resources represent the full student experience. There was also digital tools and contracts renewal for Pear Deck, which is a district-wide K through 12 at $22,558. EduLink PA ETEPT is again district-wide platform, $29,117. Illuminate which is another district-wide resource at $70,230, and Learning Without Tears as a keyboarding for elementary K through 5 at $9,196. We then discussed the revised contract with the district in Education Northwest. This contract focuses on our diversity, equity, and inclusion continuous improvement project, and the scope was revised to include some additional activities, including conducting a landscape assessment, administering a district-wide caregiver and household student survey, facilitating curriculum review planning meetings, developing a curriculum review evaluation plan, engage the district in community meetings, a one-pager, and ongoing frequent updates, attend bi-weekly implementation team meetings with Lmsb leadership, and the timeline for the study has been extended through December 2022. The additional project activities cost $56,546 for a total of $200,546. The recommendation was approved. The Early Literacy Evaluation Committee also presented, and just some highlights from the presentation include the national why for this focus work is renewed attention on how to best teach children to read. One thing cited in the cover was the Harvard Graduate School of Education notes that a student who fails to read at first grade has a 90% probability of reading poorly in the fourth grade, 75% probability of reading poorly in high school with implications for later in life. Our district-wise needs are represented in our current data and related systems. Improved data collection and professional learning focused on analysis of student data, enhance and deepen professional learning for early literacy and assessment, and curriculum resource alignment. The committee composition includes 14 members that is representative of a balance across the buildings and size of buildings, K through 2. And members of the achievement team are also included. The committee meetings will occur May 6th through the 25th, and the process will include analyzing and synthesizing current student data on K to 3 students around phonetic awareness, phonological skills, and phonics, developing consensus on areas of need relative to current practices and resources and assessments, articulate rationale for the program refresh, and articulate goals to be achieved and needs to be met in the product selection, the program selection, as well as providing a recommendation to the CCOB for the next school year. There's also a list of annual tool renewals that I won't bore you with here, but it is available in the deck that is available online. That concludes my report.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mooring. Next is the May 6th policy report that will be shared by Ms. Schaffmeister.
Hi, thanks. I want to first start out by saying that at that meeting, we did not have quorum, so any recommendations will be from the members who were present at the policy meeting. So we started out the meeting with an update on the policy and administrative regs moved to board docs from Ms. Schaefer. And as a reminder, while we're moving it, they will give us much more accessibility. The time frame is 6 to 9 months until finished. We're working with the PSBA, the Pennsylvania School Board Association, who is providing assistance, and official announcements and progress will be provided as we transition over. The policies proposed for adoption that the members present at the meeting proposed to accept with non-substantive changes is policy 810, student transportation, and it's being proposed to adopt to align with reconfiguration of our schools. Policy 217, high school graduation requirements, and that is being revised to align with the curriculum for updates for students. These were there were some non-substantial changes discussed for both, and those members present decided to approval to move forward. The first reading reviews that the members were presented at this meeting a presentation was made regarding policy 235, student rights and responsibilities and as they align with the student handbooks. These changes attempt to give a common frame for handbooks at each school with room for each building to tailor to the school's independent cultural framework. The focus is on how we can make these works as accessible and understandable to both the families and to the student, and bring them to a closer understanding of how they align with our policies and administrative regulations in that framework. And there was a look at connecting the similar language and modeling the language in age-appropriate ways to adapt the handbooks to the family versus students as independent audiences. The presentation also gave a view on how this changes will align the handbook to policy 235 and direct to where items referenced are codified. And this is also building on our equity work, providing definitions of terms as the cultural meanings change, not only providing the current meaning, but providing a history of the term as the meaning has evolved. This also aligns with our MTSS, the multi-tiered systems of support, and the framework and the restorative practices. And this would also include AR 230, administrative reg 235-1 rights and the 235-2, which is the results of conduct. The process moving forward is to have a handbook committee to build on that framework and working with the committee of principals and parents and not forgetting about the student voice. Currently, there are parents on a 5 to 8 committee and they're looking at cell phones and dress codes. Parent groups are focusing different areas of the handbook and for elementary school and high school to be added as the process moves along. Members and the members present recommended to bring these first readings with substantial changes to be proposed. The next is, in the first reading, is policy AR 14, which is the independent student supports and services. Ms. Fraser made a presentation about this. The policy affects 43% of students in the district who have an IEP, GIEP, and a 504. These areas are the most heavily regulated area in education from the state and federal levels. The minor changes are proposed to the administrative regs to align with the equity policy. AR 114-1 revisions proposed would add student voice and involvement as they go into transition age, which is 14. And AR 14-2 revisions proposed add student voice for age-appropriate students and clarifying who is on the 504 team. AR 14-3 revisions proposed to clarify and expand definitions for inclusivity, clarify timeframes, and match PA school code in Chapter 16. Members present recommended that the school board to bring first readings with proposed changes discussed. Administrative range that the policy include administrative rates that for future consideration are AR 101 equity, and updates are being ready for formal review. Policy AR 254 student wellness. We had a discussion for the first for future and focusing on nutrition, but wellness as a broader look at the goals of this and to add mental health and wellness with social and emotional and making connections to other policies. A timeline of June will come back on how we build it out and commit over the summer to be ready for fall. The wellness committee is being embedded in this policy, and it should be and is still maintained as a committee and has been on pause over COVID. Then that committee includes parents and administrators. Options discussed for the policy in AR was whether to expand the current policy or add an additional one that covers breaking it up between the nutritional side and the mental health and wellness side. And we're going. And this again, going back to this, looking is where we can go back to the handbook presentation. This is where we can make some meaningful connections for the student wellness program and communicate with families. And again, the members present recommended these four to bring to the board tonight. As for the next committee meeting, it's on June 3rd, and that is was not originally proposed in the calendar and is an addition, and it will be at 8:30 in this room. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Schaffmeister. And then the last committee report for this evening is from the May 12th Facilities and Purchasing Committee meeting. And again, Ms. Schaffmeister. No, I'm sorry. Mr. Lee.
Thank you. This is a report of the Facilities and Purchasing Committee meeting May 12th, 2022, 8:30 a.m. The following items were recommended by the committee for approval by the full board at tonight's meeting. We recommended the list of district bills for approval. We recommended the following items from the purchasing report for approval. 35,000 gallons of biodiesel at $3.0243 per gallon and 25,000 gallons of gasoline at $2.6839 per gallon from PAPCO Inc. via the Montgomery County Intermediate Unit collective bid. LMSD is locking in these prices and quantities to avoid market volatility risks. $9,792 for district-wide elevator maintenance from Tri-State Elevator Company. $22,930 for district-wide installation of wood carpet safety mulch from River Valley Organics via PA Co-Store's joint purchase. $8,850 for district-wide monitoring of building automation equipment by Johnson Controls. 2 purchases from Kistler O'Brien Fire Protection. $15,868.50 for district-wide servicing of fire extinguishers and kitchen fire systems. $20,560.72 for district-wide servicing of sprinkler systems. $17,462.83 for renewal of licensing and maintenance for facility maintenance management software from Brightly, formerly School Dude Solutions. $187,800 for installation of long jump and high jump areas for Black Rock Middle School from Miller Sports Construction via CoStar's joint purchasing. These facilities are needed to support the middle school track and field program and were included in the scope of the original Black Rock Middle School design, but were not drawn in the architectural designs by the architect. The purchase is being made via capital projects rather than as a change order to the construction project due to an expected $120,000 of savings in construction costs for the capital project versus the change order proposal we received. During the discussion of this agenda item at the committee meeting, a member of the community questioned the need for these facilities and asked if LMSD is required to provide long jump and high jump facilities. So this time of year, the district renews many contracts, some of which there's overlap with the curriculum committee. Apologies for the long list of contracts we're going to review. We recommended the following district contracts for approval. New contracts with the following: pediatric therapeutic services for as-needed support for occupational therapy at $69.99 per hour, physical therapy at $72.99 per hour, behavioral analysis at $82.50 per hour, and behavioral support at $65 an hour. 2 contracts with OWL V2 for text and online AP chemistry books for Lower Merion High School for $13,894.65 and Harriton High School for $13,233. 2 contracts with Savas Publishing for American Government digital textbooks. $23,544.50 for Harriton High School and $36,998.50 for Lower Merion High School. A 3-year contract with Samsara for GPS hardware and services to be used for district school buses for $30,847.70 in year 1, $29,999.70 in years 2 and 3. This system replaces the previous GPS system with better real-time bus location tracking and lower costs. Image Tech Systems for software and support to create workflows for use by staff in SharePoint for $17,745.44. A master agreement with Dewey Engineering for as-needed support with construction planning, estimating, and project management. Any future projects will be documented and scoped in work orders and costs based on a rate sheet included in the master agreement. Beaumont at Bryn Mawr to enable use of 30 parking spaces at Harriton High School during construction at their site. Use of the parking spaces will not interfere with any summer activities at Harriton. There's no charge to Beaumont for use of the parking, but they will be required to have liability insurance. Renewals with the following: Leader Services for IEP Writer and Children Count software for $37,568. Illuminate Education for software to help store, manage, and analyze student performance data for $70,230. Learning Without Tears for their Keyboarding Without Tears software for K-4 students for $9,196. EduLink PA ETEP for teacher evaluation software and services for a not-to-exceed amount of $29,117. Explore Learning Gizmos for grade 6 to 12 science and math simulation software for $9,085. Degrees of reading power for products and services to measure reading comprehension versus grade level expectations for $19,664. Impact Center for topical nonprofit Zoom speakers for the Lower Merion School District Global Citizenship course for a not-to-exceed amount of $8,400. Mackin VIA for software to help manage digital resources for online or offline use for $8,250. News Ella for access to their library of daily nonfiction articles written at multiple levels of complexity for grades 5 to 12 for $76,220. No Red Ink for adaptive mastery-based writing curriculum aligned to PA standards for $35,283.75. PebbleGo for a content hub that provides articles, activities, and literacy supports at all levels of abilities for $17,091.45. ProQuest for a searchable database of academic research designed for libraries for $53,658.01. Education Northwest for consulting services related to the district's ongoing Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Continuous Improvement Project for a not-to-exceed amount of $56,546. National Insurance Services for long-term disability insurance. Costs will vary depending on the number of employees electing coverage, but the cost is expected to be about $420,000. Delta Dental for employee dental PPO plan at a rate of $4 per employee per month. Byron Purnell for photography services at a rate of $70 per hour and a not-to-exceed amount of $8,400. Silver Eye Technologies for Acronis Files Connect software that allows Apple computers to print on district network printers. Amendments to the following contracts. 2 amendments with Rothman Orthopedic Institute for sports rehabilitation services, $320,916.30 for school years 2022-23 through $304,234, $313,211.02, and $320,916.30 for school years 2022-23 through 2024-25. The second amendment with Rothman is an amendment to provide 20 hours of athletic trainer support this summer for both Harriton and Lower Merion to facilitate injury recovery. Bite Curve LLC for a no-cost delay of services for previously signed school bus scheduling and dispatch software. The services Lmsb was expected to use for the 2022-23 school year will be delayed until 2023-24 at the same cost of $1,200 per month. Comcast Cable to enable Lower Merion to pay for Comcast Internet Essentials broadband internet connections for qualifying district families. Lancaster Lebanon IU for an upgrade of the district's Microsoft Azure cloud subscription to provide access to enhanced security features for $13,733.25. We recommended for approval an authorization to give the superintendent pre-approval to authorize change orders related to summer capital projects for not to exceed a total of $100,000 to prevent any approval delays creating risk to summer project on-time completion. The pre-approval will be limited to the following summer projects: building automation system replacement at Penn Valley Elementary School, construction of the asphalt play area at Penn Wynne Elementary School, reconstruction of the tennis courts at Bala Cynwyd and Welsh Valley Middle Schools, roof replacement at Welsh Valley Middle School, and removal of temporary classrooms at Bala Cynwyd Middle School, Marion Elementary School, and Penn Wynne Elementary School. We recommended the following change orders related to Black Rock Middle School for approval. Vision Mechanical for installation of an outdoor water supply for the planter area for $1,422.83. 3 change orders for borough construction. A change to the design of the public address system due to incompatibility with the school IT infrastructure for $21,275.51. Installation of electric shutoff in the life skills area for $9,550.97. Installation of additional lighting for the stage ramp and the west canopy for $10,001.38. We received an update of the new middle school, on the construction of the new middle school. Construction work continues on schedule, and August 18th, 2022 is the target date for substantial completion of the entire school to receive the temporary occupancy certificate. The construction project spend to date is $87,300,094 on a budget of $87,985,821. However, there are some disputed claims that were received from contractors that could push the total construction cost to $88,885,550. Due to the Facilities and Purchasing Committee's concerns with the number of architect and subconsultant omissions that resulted in change orders during the project, the committee asked for an analysis of the cause of all the change orders on the project. To date, there have been $3,861,628 of change orders on the project. The largest category of change orders is related to site preparation and rock excavation at $1,688,054. The two areas of concern for the committee were architect and subconsultant omissions, which were the cause of $534,623 and $657,209 in change orders, respectively. Omissions are items specified to be part of the scope of the project, but were left out in error in the final drawings and designs. An example of architect omissions were missing structural lintels and window framing in the designs, meaning that the bids from the contractors did not include construction of those items, even though they were in scope, and resulted in a change order to add them. The district believes the missing long jump and high jump areas of the athletic fields are also architect omissions, but additional due diligence is needed. An example of sub-consultant omissions are the designs not having enough roof drains, which had to be added as a change order to assure proper drainage. The next Facilities and Purchasing Committee meeting will be on Thursday, June 9th, 2022 at 8:30 a.m. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lee. Next on our agenda is additional agenda items, of which there are none today. So we'll move on to audience recognition. At this time, we will hear public comment. If you would like to speak at tonight's meeting and have not yet signed up with Mrs. LaPera, please do so now. For those of you joining us via the webinar, the chat feature will now be open, and you will see a 10-minute timer appear on your screen. You can submit your comments and/or questions via the chat feature. Both in person and in the chat, please be sure to begin with your full name and where you reside within the district. Again, that can be general neighborhood, doesn't need to be specific address, in order for your comment to be shared. Mrs. LaPera, do we have any in-person comments for tonight's meeting?
Yes, we do. We can start with Jessica Zimmerman, then Dina Yaski, and Greg Peppel.
Hi, Jessica Zimmerman, Narberth. So, I'm back. First thing I want to do is, put this down. So first thing I want to do is hold up a couple of things. It's going to be a little bit of a show and tell today. This is the COVID dashboard. So the most recent week you see we're higher than at any other week we've been in the entire pandemic. This is an article written by NIH, and it talks about masking. Specifically, it says that school districts with optional masking had approximately 3.6 times the rate of in-school COVID-19 cases when compared to schools with mandatory masking. So this data also shows that mandatory masking was associated with a 72% reduction of in-school COVID-19 cases compared to districts with optional masking. So a lot of us are asking for mandatory masking to be reinstated. So another point regarding the masking is this study right here that is from the Proceeding of the National Academy of Sciences. It looked at infection risk in a situation where a person who has the virus is speaking to someone who isn't infected. And it found that when both people are wearing a mask, the risk of infection decreased by a factor of 50, as compared to when only one person is wearing a mask. So again, it's a big deal, optional masking versus mandatory masking. Then I also wanted to show a couple of things regarding the ventilation. So good ventilation and filtration are important to decrease the risk of COVID infection. COVID numbers are an indication of the status of the ventilation. The CDC says you should aim for CO2 less than 800. So this is what a parent obtained. It's a tracing of the CO2 readings. So here we have CO2 of 1319. These are in classrooms. Again, classrooms, it's above 1,000. This is in this is September. Again, super high, over 1,000 in October. Again, super high, 1757 is the reading. This is October. This is a 1349 reading. This is in January. So to say that our readings are fine, that's not true. To say that, and then also a parent did a right to know request asking what the readings are, CO2 readings. Whole bunch of them over 1,000. I have 1,200, a 1,500 here. And then miraculously, they stopped being recorded at September 17, 2021. We wanted to know why. I don't believe that it is because they just changed their algorithms. And then all of a sudden, not changed their algorithms, but decided to only mark them if they were greater than 1,000. Because if that's true, why would it change suddenly within a week's time?
Thank you very much, Dr. Zimmerman.
To your last point, Dr. Zimmerman, we discussed that in committee and you were there, and the answer was that in September, we switched from handheld monitors to mounted monitors, and the procedures changed. So whereas before with the handheld, we were recording every one, now they're only recorded when the readings exceed a certain value, and we haven't exceeded those values.
It's very unlikely that you haven't exceeded those values, given that there's a whole bunch recorded all the way through September 16th, and given that the ones that the parent obtained are very high. So
Thank you,
I think
Dr.
that's
Zimmerman.
very
If you would
unlikely.
like to speak to us after the meeting, that would be great. Thank you.
Dina Yaski, then Greg Papel, then Holly Manzoni.
Good evening. I'm Dina Yaski from Wynwood, and I'm here to reiterate our support for full-day kindergarten in fall of 2023. Our Community Action Group, Bring Full-Day Kindergarten to Lower Merion School District 2023, has a growing petition signed by over 850 community members now and constituents, and a Facebook book with over 200 members and a group of over 30 organizers working on subcommittees at the district's disposal, all with a common goal to bring full-day kindergarten to the district by fall 2023. After last month's board presentation on the competing forces at play in the district and the status of full-day K, we were disheartened to see a timeline suggested that does not adequately reflect the urgency and priority that the community places in full-day kindergarten. Furthermore, the proposed status update, not until March of 2023, will not allow for the necessary budgetary reviews to take place according to mandated timelines, and all but ensures that the district will not be implementing a full-day kindergarten program 2 Septembers from now. We urge the board to reevaluate the proposed timeline and be prepared to start work as soon as possible this September on multiple fronts at once, including review of facilities and issuing of whatever means the district feels necessary to estimate increased enrollment, including using the 10-day first grade enrollment numbers. We once again also urge the board to form the subcommittee on full-day kindergarten now so that valuable time is not lost and preparation can begin over the summer, utilizing the expertise of the board and other year-round employees like Dr. Guadioso. Lower Merion School District, be honest and put your best effort forward. Make full-day K for fall of 2023 your target. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Papel, then Holly Manzoni, and Jill Altshuler, then Ruth Jenkin.
Hi, Greg Peppel from Narberth. I'm here also to voice my support for full-day kindergarten in 2023. I wanted to reiterate a stat that I heard during the curriculum report. If a child is not reading proficiently in first grade, there's a 90% chance that child will not be reading proficiently in 4th grade. I can't think of a better, more succinct argument for investing in full-day kindergarten for our youngest learners than that stat right there. Full-day K is the norm, it's common practice, it's the case at almost 90% of districts in Pennsylvania. Why is LMSD uniquely challenged by this concept that is widespread everywhere else? In fact, it is not uniquely challenged. Those districts also have competing interests. The difference between us and them is not about capabilities or resources or competing interests. It's about commitment. This district is not committed to what is best for most families with young kids, to families with single parents, to families with 2 working parents, to women trying to balance a career and motherhood. So form your committees, do your studies, make your assessments, and do it right, but commit first. Commit to making it happen in 2023, and then figure out how to do it right and do it expediently. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, I'm Holly Manzoni of Wynwood. I was thinking recently about how this whole Oakwell situation came about, and it all happened so quickly. My understanding is that the district got wind of the fact that Villanova University had expressed an interest and was hoping to buy the property. I believe they wanted to turn it into a retreat, which would save the trees and save the structures. I further understand that when that was due to settle early in January of that year. And when the district found out about that, they acted quickly and even initiated an eminent domain matter to get that property quickly. And I think that's a little bit troublesome. To me, it's kind of like the people nowadays in this hot real estate market that are buying houses without a home inspection. And by entering into something so quickly, you don't really know what you're getting. I've heard that the district had considered a couple other properties, but there was a wetlands issue. Well, guess what? Oakwell has a wetlands issue as well. There are a lot of problems going forward with that. You've heard for months and months people talking about the environmental concerns. There's been a big question of whether or not these fields are even necessary on that land. And then, of course, what I've been hearing a little bit tonight in various ways, there are some budget matters that this district really needs to think about. You know, people want the all-day kindergarten, for example. There are other matters. I gather last week there was a ruling in the Walk case, and I hear that that's going to be going to court in August. Maybe we'll hear more about that from you later. There's also the matter of, come September, PDE is going to come out with the Act 1 index for the following year. This year we're working on a 3.4% increase. With inflation the way it is right now, I'm kind of scared to hear what that inflationary index number is going to be. Is it going to be 6, 8%? Would you really consider raising our taxes that high the following year? I know that there are a lot of financial pressures, and I think one way that you can alleviate some of that is by abandoning this $20 million project of turning Oakwell into playing fields. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jill Altshuler, then Ruth Jenkins.
Hi, Jill Altshuler from Marion Station. Okay, question number 1 is there a policy for responding to public comment? Because it always feels like we're talking, I mean, I know you're listening, but I don't know if there's ever I don't see any sort of response to questions. So I'm kind of wondering how effective or ineffective it is. Really an innocent question. I don't know if there's anything that's supposed to be any sort of procedure for responding. Similarly, in terms of emails sent to board members through community comments or the difference between whether we're supposed to use that or your board district email addresses, what the expectations or policy protocols are for getting a response. I have emailed with questions, comments, and compliments, and I haven't heard back, and it's really kind of disappointing. One of the more recent ones was when I wanted to thank everyone for their comments at the committee meetings, because you learn so much from when you guys ask your questions and the presenters respond, and the discussion that ensues is extremely helpful. And I learn a lot. And again, of course, I think they need to be recorded, maybe only up until the public comment part, because there are so many people, parents and community members and caregivers, who cannot come at 8:30 on a weekday. So that's that. And in terms of the continuous improvement project, there's the most recent update from I forget which meeting, the curriculum, the policy meeting. So the one-pager, has the only one that I've seen, and I reached out to one of the consultants from Northwest, and it hasn't been updated from the original one that had the 3 focus areas. So I'm wondering if that one-pager is the very original one that's been talked about. And then the digital suggestion box, where, parents and caregivers who kind of want to have some input on this improvement project feel kind of at a loss of what to do, because, again, we don't know who's on the advisory team, so we can't reach out to any parents. And it's hard to find the suggestion box. But I reached out to Emmy from Equity Northwest, or Education Northwest, and she gave me the link, so I'm hoping that that can be front and center somewhere, easy to find. And what else? Mental Health Awareness Month. We need mental health education. If I hear of one more student who is happy and athletic and social, go ahead and commit suicide with no signs. And I feel like there's low-hanging fruit we could do to just talk about mental health in the school district and not wait till crisis phase. Thanks.
And thank you, Ms. Altshuler.
Good evening. I'm Ruth Jenkins from Wynwood. I think that one of the things you want to think about is budget priorities, and Dr. Moomin alluded to that several times, that we only have so much money and we only can spend it on so many things. And one of the priorities, I would think, would be a full-day kindergarten over lights on the field, or chopping down trees, or building unnecessary sports fields. When you think about the value of one of those things over the value of another, it's unbelievable that full-day kindergarten doesn't come to the top. And as recommended and as suggested here and was mentioned earlier, if the students are held back from reading by the time they're in kindergarten or first grade, then they are handicapped for probably for most of their school experience. And we still play sports. We just don't have to play them at night. We can play them during the day, and we can play them on Saturday, and we can still have full-day kindergarten in that context. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Jenkins.
Yes, I just wanted to step in and talk a little bit about responding to public comments. What we do quite diligently is we try to compartmentalize what these comments are about, and at the end of all of the comments, we go back and we're going to talk about full-day kindergarten. We go back and we're going to have discussions or some clarification in regards to property acquisition. So that's why we're taking copious notes here. It's not a back and forth, response, but we're listening to be able to address some of these issues. So when public comment is completed, we will continue to do the same as we've done in the past.
Regarding emails, I I would highly suggest or recommend that people send emails to community comments. And the reason for that is that when you send to sitting board members, we see them, but they're not put into sort of the history and the institutional history. So when they go to community comments, they are logged in on board docs so that future board members, so if I came onto the board 2 years ago and I wanted to know what the comments, community comments were from 3 or 4 or 5 years ago, I can go back and look at that. But if they're sent to individual board member emails, there's no record of that in community comments. And so that's why I recommend everyone to include community comments on your emails. Mr. Roos, can you please read any public comments that were submitted via the chat feature?
Yes, happy to. Can everyone hear me okay? Scroll up. First comment, Abigail Rubin from Malakinwood. How can we indicate our interest in joining the, quote, committee to research the potential for full-day kindergarten, end quote? And how does the district plan to contact current preschool parents to gauge interest / potential enrollment in full-day kindergarten? Thank you. Next, Allison Barron, Narberth. Please make full-day kindergarten happen no later than September 2023. We understand there are competing projects, but having basic education for our youngest learners has to be the top priority. We are so happy to know that the board members themselves have said they are in favor of full-day kindergarten. But this cannot wait any longer, especially given the challenges and developmental delays COVID has brought our little ones. We urge you to consider getting the ball rolling sooner than fall 2022. Let's make our community even prouder to be part of Lmsb by implementing full-day kindergarten by 2023. Katie Daly, Penn Valley. I encourage the board to make full-day kindergarten a reality. This is not a new concern, and for numerous years, the reasons why it couldn't be done, according to Mr. Copeland, was because of physical space. With the new middle school and reduced enrollment, we now have ample space and thus cannot dismiss the needs of our youngest learners any longer. With 85% of Pennsylvania districts offering full-day kindergarten, LMSD is one of the very few districts still following the outdated and unequitable half-day model. Please resolve this so all of our learners can receive the full education they deserve. Tanya Schreiber, Penwyn. The Montgomery County Department of Health is advising a county of over 800,000 people who, overall, have reported only 2,688 COVID cases this month. Because of that low number, the county is currently only at medium. But our school district alone has over 600 positive cases. When our school district has almost 25% of the total number of reported cases, either our district is one of the main drivers of infection for the whole county, or the county is massively undercounting cases. No matter which one is true, it seems cruel to close our eyes to the data and continue pretending everything is okay. Next, Alexandra O'Neill, Wynwood. 569 of our students have tested positive for COVID in the first 16 days of May, bringing it home to their family members and spreading it throughout our community. Those students who choose to wear masks in school are not spared, as they eat lunch in the same spaces as students who are positive, and because this variant is incredibly contagious. The message that the administration keeps stating about following CDC and Montgomery County Health Department guidelines misses something critical. Those are the minimum requirements, not to mention the fact that those guidelines are not in fact being followed. This message that this sends to the community is that the administration does not care how many people in the community get sick, as long as they are appearing doing the bare minimum. This needs to change now. We need better air filtration, especially in the cafeterias, CO2 levels that are actually being monitored, rigorous contact tracing, and a return to masks. While I am grateful for those who have been in the district for 25 years and they deserve to be celebrated, seeing a room full on mostly unmasked people celebrating while almost 7% of the student body has tested positive for COVID in the last 2 weeks, was deeply unsettling. If you claim to value student health and wellness, now would be a good time to show it by protecting them from COVID, which will lead to long COVID for many of them. Ezra Wood, Marion Station. I'd like to propose that school board meetings be moved to 5:30 in the morning. Traffic is much lighter then, and it will free up everyone's evenings to engage in various activities. For example, exercise, socializing, hobbies. If this sounds ridiculous, then imagine having to start your job 5:30 a.m. 5 days a week. This is what our high schoolers are effectively doing. Due to this shift in their circadian rhythms, 7:30 for them feels like 5:30 for adults. Only a small fraction of high schoolers are getting enough sleep, and their physical and mental health is suffering as a result. Please do not delay taking action in enacting later, healthier start times for middle and high schoolers. This is Carla Mitchell. I reside in Villanova. Today I'd like to demand LMSD reinstate masking as soon as possible. The number of cases are similar to those in January. We were masking then, we should mask now. Nothing has changed other than how we qualify red, orange, or green. A poll I took today states that most LMSD parents support having masking reinstated. The kids are our future. We need to do everything to protect their health and well-being. Rebecca Peebles, Bryn Mawr. As a pediatrician, I am genuinely alarmed at the lack of adequate COVID response from LMSD. Stop blaming your decisions on Montco Department of Public Health. It is unacceptable how dismissive you are all being of the number of children and their family members who are getting sick under your watch. Lunch should be outdoors, bus and classroom windows open, and masks should be on indoors. Graduation should clearly be masked. We all wish to attend, and you don't have to host super spreader events. Improve your practices now and show us that you care about the families in our districts. Thank you. Colin Campbell, Bala Kinwood. We continue to recognize the need for full-day kindergarten to provide the optimal educational and social experience for children in an LMSD. This is related to a curriculum need for children in the primary education setting and should not be downgraded in terms of priority due to competing extracurricular considerations. We ask that you expedite the necessary assessments by performing space, curriculum, staffing, enrollment, budgetary, and other needs concurrently. We remain committed to help make this a reality for fall 2023. Thank you for your commitment to excellence. Still 4 more to go. My name is Katie Duboff from Ardmore. I'm writing today in support of the full-day kindergarten initiatives the board presented in April. I want to find out what steps are being taken over the summer to prepare to launch the timeline in September to keep the momentum going and prioritize the urgency of this important initiative. Mark Fasano, Wynwood. I want to reiterate the importance of full-day kindergarten. Our children are not half a student and should not be relegated to receiving half an education. Thanks for your time. Todd Ridke, Bryn Mawr. I am also a physician and growing increasingly concerned by what appears to be a complete disregard for the school-based outbreaks that had occurred. Schools should be safe. We have surpassed all criteria that had been previously approved for on-ramps for masking. Please stop mask to stay. Please reinstate indoor masking. And the final comment is Sean McMurtry, Marion Station. Mainline Health just announced that it is in the earliest stages of deciding the best use for the 73 acres they acquired at St. Charles Seminary site. They want to develop a world-class health and wellness village and to address unmet needs of surrounding communities. This might be a perfect time to lobby that a portion of the land be used for ball fields to be shared with the school district. A partnership with MLH could help to avert the environmentally catastrophic plan for fields on historic properties that were part of the original Stoneley estate. Could even include a futuristic plan for an indoor pool, track tennis, etc., given our ever-warming climate. Is anyone considering talking to MLH? That concludes public comment. I'm happy to respond to the last one.
Go ahead.
There were
Thank you.
extensive, numerous conversations with Mainline Health prior to the district acquiring the property on Montgomery Avenue, and at no time was Mainline Health interested in selling to the district the property, sufficient property to make it worthwhile for the district to purchase for playing fields. This was made clear at many meetings, including meetings involving the township, involving the representatives from St. Charles. This was explored repeatedly and thoroughly and for several years.
Thank you, Mr. Roos. Dr. Memine?
Thank you so much, President Klein. As stated earlier, I took some notes in regards to the public comments. They centered around COVID response, full day K, the fields at Black Rock Middle School, and healthy start times. Earlier this evening, and we've been very transparent with providing updates in regards to what we're seeing in our schools, and mapping that onto recommendations and guidance from MCPOH. Ms. Schaefer gave that report earlier in this meeting. In regards to full day kindergarten, now I'm losing track of time, but a month ago, I believe when the conversation really gained energy here at a meeting, I stepped out. I said, hey, let's talk about this a little more. There was nothing. We came back one meeting later with a plan. That's transparent. That's honest. It's authentic. We have to watch the plan move. We have to implement the plan. The plan is posted online in regards to the timeline. September, to establish a committee to research the potential of full-day kindergarten. October, begin with working with the demographer to approximate the enrollment. And we're going all the way through to March. This is clear and transparent. There's no smoking mirrors. This isn't just a stunt to say we did something. As stated when we first began these discussions, yes, the school board is very much committed to this initiative or to this programming. The administration is committed. I have to be honest and say there are competing factors, which has been used a lot this evening. Those competing factors have been talked about within public comment this evening. These are real issues, and we are committed to resolving these. Looking at the healthy start times piece, yes, and again, this is another program, another initiative that the board and administration is fully supportive of. But balancing and being transparent and continuing to stay the course to bring these programs to reality, it is of our highest priority. So we're going to continue to move forward. We're putting out again, at the last board meeting, we talked about that we are going to give a progress report of where we are to date with healthy start times and create that energy, continue our planning to be able to get to full implementation or pilot to full implementation of healthy start times once we're able to resolve another competing factor. I remain extremely optimistic that these competing factors, with great balance, with great leadership, great planning, will be able to overcome these. I have to be very clear. We can't do them all at the same time. The system will break. We talk about one piece in regards to healthy start times is in regards to full-day kindergarten, and the piece that I was very open about that we have to resolve first, which we are trying to, is transportation. So we took some steps to be able to step out with school board support, to be able to step out and LMEA support to be able to compete for to address our school bus driver shortage. We said we were going to do it. We're doing it. It's all written. So please, I know it's going to take time to build sustainable trust, but I'm being very honest and open and transparent with you that we are looking at these things continually and on a daily basis. In regards to the timeline and the recommendation to have full-day kindergarten by the fall of 2023, the timeline is very clear. It does allow enough time, looking at the competing sources. If things are resolved, we'll be ready we're going to go through the process. We have to have a plan in place. So in regards to the communication out to seek engagement in the committees, we're going to stick to the timeline that will happen in September. So please, these things are posted. This information is posted. We're not changing. It's not smoke and mirrors, but we're going to work at this together. And we're going to work on all of these competing factors together. Hopefully, sooner rather than later. I can't wait till I can sit here one day and say, remember these competing factors? We resolved them all. How many years will that take? Hopefully not many. But these are some competing factors that have been in existence for years. And we're having very courageous and energetic conversations around these issues. And I'm looking at it from my vantage point from when I first got here to where we are now. These are serious issues that are not only in the superintendent's office, but they're throughout the system in regards to how do we resolve them, working in collaboration with our board, and working in collaboration with our community and our stakeholders in this process. We just have to continue to stay the course. I have to say with full confidence, I will not lead you down a path where we will just say, we're going to do it, we can do it, and then we just throw it out there and it's not planned, because we must do it well. We must do it well to overcome these competing factors. We're going to get through them, and we're going to do it well. It's going to be of high quality. That's why the calculated approach to gathering the necessary information to make an informed decision is necessary. So it's not simply about classroom availability. There are other factors, and we're going to be transparent and keep pushing it out there so that we can get to a positive result. But I wanted to make sure that I openly talked about that. And then the Black Rock Middle Schools, the fields. That information and that entire process, I know Mr. Lill has been going through the property acquisition throughout meetings. That information is readily available on our website also. And yes, there are, we remain open and collaborative. We look at alternate sites. We're looking at a lot of information. We open our doors to a forum with the neighbors. We took that information, points well taken, and there's been some reciprocal communication. So this is all fluid. This is an attempt to make sure that we have a desirable outcome, not simply just, it has to be about, for us, from this vantage point, for all of our students, and to also work in tandem and in collaboration with our neighbors in Villanova, and we're seriously committed to that. So I just wanted to reiterate, yes, 1, we're listening. 2, we continue to plan. 3, we're balancing because it is a responsible thing to do. And 4, I strongly believe with great optimism we'll be able to overcome some of these competing factors, and we'll be able to continue to move forward into the future with new vision. So I just wanted to make sure that I communicated that to the public. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Mumine. Now we're going to move into the business portion of our agenda tonight. Do I have a motion to approve tonight's agenda via consent?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. Motion passes. So next, do I have a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes. Before we end our meeting today, I do want to congratulate Dr. O'Rourke, who will be the new assistant principal at Wash Valley Middle School, Ms. Grazioso Hibbs, who will be the new assistant principal at Harriton High School, and Mr. Williams, who will be an interim assistant principal at Harriton High School. Mr. Roos, can you give us a report on the Sunshine Act?
Yes. The board did meet in executive session prior to tonight's meeting regarding the the Wolk versus School District of Lower Merion case number 2016-01839. And I think if you scroll down, the other date.
Sorry, it's May 9th.
And May 9th for the same matter.
Thank you, Mr. Roos. Our upcoming board meeting dates, which full board meetings are held here at 8 p.m. in the District Administration Boardroom, will be on Monday, June 13th, which is a regular business board meeting. We are moving into our summer schedule so that there are, for June, July, and August, there's one board meeting a month. The Education Committee doesn't meet over the summertime. Committee meetings will be held in the boardroom as well and live streamed starting at 8:30 a.m. unless noted otherwise. The May 25th communications meeting, which would normally be at 7 p.m., has been canceled. June 1st will be a additional curriculum committee meeting, and June 3rd, Friday, will be an additional policy committee meeting. These have been added onto the schedule. Normally, again, summer schedule, certain committees don't always meet during the summer. Thursday, June 9th is the next Facilities and Purchasing Committee meeting. In addition to the monthly board meetings, the Facilities and Purchasing Committee continues to meet over the summertime on Thursday mornings prior to the business board meeting. And then June 15th is the next Ad Hoc for Equity and Anti-Racism Committee meeting, and that will be at 7 p.m. Also a note that this Thursday, May 19th at 7 p.m. is the Committee for Special Education Spring Social at the Get Cafe in Narberth for those that would like to participate. And there being no further business, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.